16-year-old just found out that his dad isn't his real dad anymore because of my bitter sister. She claims it's for his own good. But in what way is that for his own good? When I found out I was pregnant with my son, I made the logical choice to pick the father that made the most money. His real dad was working at McDonald's for like $8.25 an hour. I don't want that as a man. He was just one of my hoes, and that was that. And I got pregnant, and so I picked the richer dad. And
Can you imagine she had to pick the father? A guy who's not the father.
And although the richer dad didn't take care of him and hasn't been around, he does pay child support, and he pays a lot, and it pays for a majority of my rent. Well, my sister never liked that, and I finally let her have my son thinking I could trust. And she tells my son and confides in him that his dad isn't his real dad. And now he went and found his real dad behind my back with my sister. And they are all trying to fight and get my son taken away from me. My son doesn't want to live in my house. We haven't talked in 3 days. I think it's the most miserable thing a person can ever do is ruin some shit like that.
So now she's a victim apparently. But it makes sense, guys, why most of the men are asked to pay child support, yet they are not allowed to see their kids because it's not their kid.
You put me in such an uncomfortable situation.
I picked the right choice. Now who's going to pay my bills now? Because now they also told that the guy that's been on child support all these years, and he's trying to come after me and sue me for all the money he's been paying. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I didn't do
30 years, all this time, you believe this young girl was your daughter?
Yes, ma'am. And I've been 4 to 5 years in jail, and it gets rough.
4 to 5 years in jail.
Yes, ma'am.
For unpaid child support.
Yes, ma'am.
For a young woman that calls you and then says, some family member told me you may not even be my biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You actually have a court date tomorrow.
1:30 tomorrow afternoon.
Concerning the child support for this young woman that you're still behind on.
Yes, ma'am.
You could be thrown back in jail again for being behind, and yet you still don't know whether you're her biological father.
True, I don't know if I'm her dad or not.
Have you ever been arrested for anything else besides this child support issue?
Never, ma'am. Nothing.
Just getting behind in child support.
Yes, ma'am, that's it. It's the only time I've ever been in jail.
What were your revelations?
I counted back months. I was like, wait a minute. There's a month or two here that I wasn't even down there, and she's supposed to be pregnant at this time.
You started doing some math, and you felt like it didn't add up.
Yes, ma'am.
You said, well, the window of conception would have been around this time, and
Yes, ma'am, exactly.
this may or may not be mine. As it pertains to the paternity of Ms. Brandy Lapine. Ms. Lapine, Mr. Richard Lapine is not your biological father.
Can we all conclude or arrive to this conclusion that women won't let the biological fathers of their child go to prison because they are unable to pay child support? So if you find yourself in a jam and maybe there's potential prison time, and maybe she drags you to court because she has to get money from you, and all that kind of stuff, just know that you are not actually the biological father of that child. She's hustling you, and hence why she's so hard on you, because she wants to collect. She wants to get money from you. But I doubt it. Like, maybe women would really let the biological father of the child suffer. And that's the reason why the first woman, if you saw, she had to pick the other guy to punish him. She had to get the other guy pay for her child support. I don't know if that's really fair, but I don't think it's fair. I think for people like this that commit fraud, knowingly, they should actually also spend some time in prison. Because if a man goes to jail for not paying child support, even a woman for lying to that man that is a father, she should equally go to jail for some time, at least 2 years or a year or so. Just saying.
You know that that's your kid. I will never give you a DNA test. That's not going to happen.
No?
Because I know, of course not.
But if he's asking for
Because
it,
I will not go it. I did my research. I will never, ever give him a DNA test. You will need to take...
Body count's 11, and no, it doesn't matter. Unless it's like excessively high.
Why do all girls say it doesn't matter though? Because it obviously matters to a point. There's got to be a point where you're like, all right, nah.
That's what I'm saying. If it's like...
So where's your cutoff point? When you're like,
I'd
I
say
need to slow
like
down.
40 for
40?
a guy.
Okay, what about a girl?
Girls can do what they want. They can have as many bodies as they say.
What about you? What's your personal beliefs on that?
I would like to not exceed 25 before I get married.
When do you plan on getting married?
I don't know. I'm not even anywhere close to a relationship, so I can't.
If men didn't exist, there'd be no war, there'd be fewer crimes, there'd be less violence, there'd be fewer billionaires.
It strikes me as funny that the majority of individuals that make this type of content that think that the world would be so much better without men are obviously not students of history or the human condition.
There'd be less homelessness, there'd be equal pay, there'd be less oppression, there'd be less poverty, there'd be universal health care. All the money used to fund the military would instead contribute to free education.
Sadly, it is often the most uninformed individuals that often speak the loudest.
And affordable housing, livable wages, and environmental efforts. Period products would be free, there'd be no need for birth control and all of its side effects, there'd be no need for women's rights or Me Too movements.
It's amazing how blind a person can be when they actually believe that men are the root of all evil, and seemingly they don't think that women can do any wrong.
There'd be no abortion debate, toilet seats would never be left up, there'd be more self-love, there'd be less body shaming.
What? More self-love and less body shaming if men didn't exist? Yeah, it doesn't seem like they've experienced much of reality, because in my experience, it's usually women that do the most of that, not men. But again, let's go on.
The world in general would be safer, cleaner, and more comfortable. Land would be shared, not stolen, there'd be less hate, and there'd be less fear. Let me know if I missed anything, and try telling me that I'm wrong.
A person doesn't really actually have to try that hard to point out how egregiously incorrect it is to say that half of the human population does all the wrong while the other half can do nothing wrong. I'll just leave that there.
I think she does miss out something, her brain. She ain't got a brain. Because why would you think like that? So are we saying maybe the prisons that are there for women, those women are innocent? Because most of them, they probably maybe did something against their fellow women. So we have killers, we have all people that have done all sorts of bad things and who are in prison now. And those are women. They are women prisons. So is she saying that women wouldn't be attacking other women if men weren't there? Even let's take maybe the prison system also, maybe for women prisoners who are there. Is she saying that women don't fight in prison? I think we are missing something.
Huh? A few years ago, my oldest daughter had to take a DNA test for school just to figure out ancestry. During the DNA test, she came to me very, very sad because apparently me and her were not related. I was like, huh? When she told me this, I had to keep a straight face because the immediate shock was just wild. Then I decided to go with her to get a paternity test done. When we got the paternity test done, it was also concluded that I was not her father. At this point, I was shocked. I've had 4 kids with my wife, and she was the oldest, and I needed to see how far this rabbit hole went. I told her to not let her mother know that we know this information, and then I went to my next oldest child. Not mine. I went to the one below that. Not mine. And then I decided to stop there because the youngest child is so young that this may directly affect them, and they don't really understand what's going on anyway. So I didn't even want to go into that rabbit hole, but when I got the information, I immediately was like, let me go talk to my wife about this. So, like always, she didn't take responsibility or any type of accountability, and she said, how are you going to believe your wife over these tests? I was like, are you serious? Are you like, for real, for real? Like, is this really where you're gonna go with this? Then she starts crying profusely and saying it was only one time, I didn't mean to do it. And I was like, it was only one time? Hey. And then I showed her that each one of the children aren't mine, with the exception of the youngest, as so I think. That's when it dawned on me that it was one time, multiple times, and then when we looked, each one of the children had different baby fathers, and somehow that made it even worse, because it wasn't just one person you was cheating on me with. This is a habitual thing with multiple different people that you probably don't know about. And I'm taking care of their kids. They're my kids. They're my kids. I've raised each and every one of them from a super young age, and they stood by me through this whole situation. But to think that she's not who she said she was, because up into that situation, I thought we had a great marriage. I thought we had a great life. I thought everything was going good. I thought that we were building together and already have built together. She is a stay-at-home mom that works on things that she wants to do. She takes care of the kids. She cooks, she cleans, she does everything that's needed inside of the relationship with me. Yet she didn't tell me that she wanted to go outside of the marriage. She didn't tell me that she wanted to do anything. Anyway, after finding out the information and getting her side of the story, I let her know I would need a couple of space.
Oh no, I'm devastated.